Hello and welcome to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith and today we head to the Hockenheimring in Germany, and yes, it is the forest layout. We're reviving the original classic layout of the Hockenheimring and we can't wait to see what this race is going to bring. As always, we will be starting with League 2, but let's remind ourselves of the drivers and team standings heading into today. Pato O'Ward, after his second win of the season last time out at Donington Park, he leads the standings on 96 points, 12 ahead of Ryo Hirakawa in the Toyota. Yeifei third in the Prima on 75, consistently scoring points, but not yet a race winner this season. Felix Rosenqvist, another podium for him last time out, he's up to fourth in the standings on 74 points, 2 ahead of Roman Grosjean in the Spiker, who is a further 2 ahead of the other Spiker of Colton Herta. Nick de Vries, 7th in the second Toyota on 67, ahead of Gabriele Mini on 51, Luke Browning on 36 and Igor Fraga on 35. That is your top 10 in the drivers. As for the teams, Toyota leads the way on 151, 9 ahead of Spiker on 142 and a further 11 ahead of Ram Racing on 131. Those 3 teams the favourite for those promotion spots at the moment. But don't discount the likes of Forty Corsa and Prima just yet. They are still there or thereabouts, 104 points and 96 points each for those 2 teams. Bimoto KRT 6th on 69 ahead of Simtek on 67, Opel on 49, Mazda on 35, Iron Dames on 29, Chip Ganassi on 22, and then M Sport and Zach Speed deadlocked on 16 points each at the bottom of the table. Now, before we get on with the action, we did have the mid-season driver test after the last round at Donington Park, where the team's reserve drivers and an additional test driver were able to get out on track and show what they could do. Let's bring you the results of the League 2 mid-season driver test and see how the drivers got on there. To bring you through the results, here's our commentator Tom Cairns.
Donington Park saw all the teams take to the track, but this time to see their reserve and test drivers be given the chance to show what they are made of. Lead 2 were up first, as Freddie Slater had his attempt in the Toyota and led teammate Sebastian Montoya to 1 and 2, with less than 0.3 of a second separating the duo. Ed Jones and Jakub Smirkowski, both impressed for Opel, concluding the German team's session in 3rd and 4th. Rinus VK was 0.4 off the fastest time in 5th for Spiker, followed by Louis Foster, René Rast and Dan Tickton. Conor Silic, who is set to debut for Ram in the League 2 Hockenheim Grand Prix, was a respectable 9th, ahead of Naoki Yamamoto. M Sport had a more positive session than expected, with Martin Sesk and Sebastian Ogier just 0.005 of a second between them in P11 and P12. Current F2 driver Roman Belinsky beat 5-time Toyota starter Zhou Guanyu to 14th. Leila Wadu was the highest of all the female drivers in 18th position, Rachel Robertson in 22nd and Bianca Bustamante in 23rd spot. The League 2 classification was completed by former stock car racer Valdeno Brito.
So some very impressive performances there in the mid-season test for the League 2 drivers. Following on from the test, we have a couple of driver changes to bring you. The first of those coming at the Ram Racing team, where Conor Zilic impressed team manager Ross McGregor enough to give him a race seat for at least the next couple of races. He replaces Igor Fraga, who has been dropped down to the reserve role. And over at the Opel team, Joel Eriksson has been put down to the reserve role, but in comes Loic Duval, who did not take part in the mid-season driver test, but the World Endurance Champion and Le Mans winner being given a go in the Grand Prix World Series to see how he gets on. Those are the only 2 changes, so let's get on with the qualifying results for today's Hockenheim Grand Prix. And Toyota has absolutely dominated qualifying, both their drivers Nick de Vries and Ryo Hirakawa on the front row by quite a margin to the next car. Colton Herta 3rd on the grid, but just under 0.4 of a second away from the Toyotas. Yeifei 4th in a Prima ahead of Conor Zilic, who out-qualifies his teammates at a first time of asking, the 2 Ram drivers sharing row 3 together. Daniel Kvyat 7th in the Opel ahead of Roman Grosjean, Felix Rosenqvist and Nick Cassidy rounding out the top 10 in the Mazda. Tomoki Najiri 11th ahead of Luke Duval making his debut today. Ayumu Iwasa 13th alongside Earl Bamber in the Chip Ganassi. Finn McLaughlin outqualifies his teammate Kokunushin Otter, with Antonio Giovinazzi getting in between the 2 Simtecs. Scott McLaughlin 18th ahead of Gabriele Mini and Joseph Newgarden. And at the back, Charles Mallacy, Leonardo Fornaroli, Steph Dusseldorp, Dorian Pan, Jamie Chadwick and Philippe Salaquada. But the expectation is that Toyota is going to absolutely dominate this race. Reliability, of course, can still play its part. Will they make it to the end? That remains to be seen. Let's waste no more time. Let's find out how this race goes. So let's get back to Tom Cairns, who is now in the commentary box waiting to call this one. So Tom, let's hand it over to you.
A fourth pole in a row for Nick de Vries. Rio Hirakawa once again alongside him on the front row. Will Toyota come away with victory this time, or will it be more of the same like what we saw in Donington? The lights are coming on now here at Hockenheim. Lights are on. Lights off, it's go, and de Vries is away. Well, what about Hirakawa? He's tucked in behind. The spiker of Colton Herta has leapfrogged Hirakawa into turn one, so Herta up into second place, and he's got the benefit of the toe of the Dutchman Nick de Vries all the way through towards the Clark curve. I don't think Herta's going to make a move. It feels like the Toyota power is too superior at this point, so it's de Vries who leads. Herta is second. Hirakawa is under attack from the Premier of Yearfees to go through the first chicane of the lap, and it's 1 and 3 for Toyota. Not a good start for Hirakawa, but there's a long way to go. Connor Silic in the Ram on debut is in 5th place. He's having a go at the Premier, and he's through into 4th position by the time they get to Ost. That is Silic through. Now he's having a look at Herta, and it's P3 for Silic. What a start to his Grand Prix Series career for the American. Danny Kvyat in 6th place for Opel. It's Pato Ward, Roman Grosjean, Ayumu Iwasa, and Nick Cassidy in the top 10. And there we see the Toyotas. First and second now. Yearfee's dropped behind Danny Kvyat, and there's going to be plenty of changes considering the circuit's nature. And heading through the second timing beam at the end of the final back straight of the lap. There is O'Ward getting through on Yearfee, or so he thought. Just to wait back a little. O'Ward heads into this round as the championship leader, and off goes Newgarden, and he's collided with the M Sport, and it's race over for Newgarden. Unfortunately, that's one of the Chip Ganassi's out of the race. We're going to see how he managed to do that. He ran out wide to begin with, and that was completely all of his own doing. And the M Spot he collided there was Leo Fornaroli. Another race, another retirement for the American, unfortunately. Fornaroli couldn't have done anything about that, I don't think. Let's have a look. So Newgarden goes wide to begin with. And yeah, that was completely all of Newgarden's doing. Fornaroli will not take any form of punishment for that. And so that is game over for Joseph Newgarden, out on lap number 1. So it's de Vries who leads at the end of the first lap. Hirakawa, and it's Connor Silic stepping in for Igor Fraga at Ram. And we're aiming for a late push for promotion. There's Philip Salaquada coming into the pit lane for Sack Speed. Another long race, unfortunately, for the Czech Republican. There's Herta through on Silic at the end of the Ost curve. That's a good move from the spiker to go up into 3rd position. Look at the setups now as we see Shinshin Ota being overtaken by his teammate Lloyd Duval, who's just gone through ahead of him. That is Duval, who's also competed on debut, and that is Jamie Chadwick, who has lost her front wing and rear wing by running wide onto the grass. Don't know how she's managed to do that. Was she trying to pass Leo Fornaroli around the outside? No, she completely lost it. Front wing and rear wing gone on the Iron Dames. Way back to the pit lane, unfortunately for the Brit. There's Hirakawa in 2nd place, looking to get back the championship lead they had for a bit before it was lost at Donington. Lap 2 done. There's de Vries leading ahead of Hirakawa. countdown on the setups for each of the teams as O'Ward goes through on Grosjean for 7th position. So those going for the neutral setup, the only team doing that are Zach Speed. Jamie Chadwick comes in for repairs. The ones going for the mid-top speed setup, that team would be Premier. All the other teams are going for maximum top speed. There's a big accident involving Charles Mallacy, and there's another cutter in there. We're going to see who that was on the replay, but Charles Mallacy's race has ended on lap number 3. It might have been a promoter that came together with him to begin with, and then one of the masters got involved as well. That must have been Scott McLaughlin. Scott McLaughlin ended up in the air at the Clark curve, so it was a, or Mini rather, that ran into Sean Mallacy, and we're going to see Scott McLaughlin go flying up in the air. There we see Mini hitting Mallacy to begin with, and then McLaughlin just had nowhere to go and front wing damage. There's no question to my mind that Gabriele Mini is going to be hit with a hefty punishment for that, because he was the one that kick-started all of that. Mallacy's race is over, still no points this season for him. That's the second retirement of the race so far. And it's a 30-second time penalty, a 10-place grid drop for the next race, and 6 penalty points on Gabriele Mini's licence. Master in this race or the motor. And on the spot, all hopes will be rested on Leo Fonorelli to salvage anything from this race. After a brilliant show at Donington where he came home in 5th position, the team's best result in the Grand Prix Series so far. And that is Steph Dusseldorf off the racetrack in the Zach Speed. It's another race to forget so far for Chris Hose's team. So those 6 penalty points are the first for this season. For Gabriele Mini, those penalty points carry through to the next season depending on when they picked them up during the season. This is round 10. Those penalty points remain with the driver until round 10 of the following season. Or round 9 of the following season. This season in the Grand Prix Series, 3 teams go up from League 2 to League 1, the top 3 teams in the Teams Championship. In contrast, the bottom 3 teams in League 1 will go down to League 2. Look at Iwaza fighting with Nick Cassidy for a points scoring position. And that is the Japanese through into 10th place. There is Grosjean. And off goes O'Ward. The championship leader is off the racetrack. O'Ward spins right in front of the pack. Everyone gets around him just about, but O'Ward is going to fall to the back of the field. What he can to get back on the circuit, but all this dawdling is costing him time. Man who won this race in League 1 3 seasons ago is not going to do it here. Ward gets back on the circuit in 24th and last place. Herter in P3, and Theo McLaughlin in the Simtek. I mentioned Lloyd Javel earlier. Lloyd Javel is in the car for the Opel team. It was Joel Eriksson in that car last time out, but now it's Lloyd Javel in there, and the other drivers, of course, those are the only two driver changes in League 2 for this round. Prix in the lead by 1.8 seconds over his teammate. Grosjean running in P7 for Spiker. Twice a race winner this season. There's Roman. He's hopeful. And this season rather smoothly. On lap number 6, this race will be quicker compared to other rounds we've seen this season because of the circuit's nature. There's Giovinazzi. Line up and move on Tomoki Nijiri at the Clark curve. So he is through. He's coming back on Giovinazzi at the Os curve, gets the car slowed down and he goes on by. There is Lloyd Javel, who has Kenichi Ota for company. That's Dorian Pan right behind the pair of them. I think we'll see these fighting for points later on in the race, depending on the situation of what is going on ahead. Second win of the season. No, it won't lead the championship after this round. Whatever happens, the victory will take Toyota a giant step closer to promotion. Still 8 rounds to go in the season's championship. After Hockenheim go to Anstad in Sweden, and it's off to Mugello for the Grand Prix of Europe. It's the last European round of the season. We then head to Asia at Hanoi, Vietnam, Sepang, Malaysia, Buriram, Thailand, and we go to Motegi in Japan for the Grand Prix of Asia. The last 2 championship rounds of the season will be held at Phillip Island, Australia, and Manawatu, New Zealand. And we've got the non-championship Macau Grand Prix involving the 13 highest scoring teams across the 2 leagues. And there's Giovinazzi and Nijiri having it out again over 12th position. Giovinazzi, who completed a remarkable day for 40 last time at Donington. Chadwick being passed by Scott McLaughlin. He's popping through into 22nd position. Going back to what I was saying about Giovinazzi, he's on a run of 3 consecutive point scores. He only picked up 1 point before then. And we've got pit stops happening right now. Earl Bamber and Nick Cassidy are both in at the same time at the end of lap 7. It's quite early in the race actually to be doing scheduled stops. We want to be coming out in some clean air. Some drivers will be doing the 2 stop, others will be doing the 1. away from the jury at this point. Well, not anymore, because he's run wide and the front wing's broken on the 40 and the rear wing to go with it. Giovinazzi running wide. And the front wing and the rear wing disintegrating. 40 ending up in the barrier. His chances of points have become increasingly slim and rejoins dangerously back onto the circuit, which might get looked into by the stewards. That was Gabriele Mini who narrowly missed him. Oh, that was too dangerous, especially at that part of the racetrack. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Giovinazzi was given some form of punishment for that, because that was avoidable in my book. It's a 5-second time penalty and a penalty point on Giovinazzi's licence. Wherever he finishes, 5 seconds will be added. Gabriele Mini has 30 seconds worth of time penalty, to remind you. And into the pit lane comes Romain Grosjean, who's running in P7 before heading to pit road at the end of lap number 8. And Hirakawa, 1.9 seconds. Now we look at Jimmy Jogger at the back. Giovinazzi comes in for repairs. It's likely he'll fall to last position. Now we see Hirakawa in P2. Ward is now in for his first stop of the race. Run of 6 consecutive point scores coming into this round. That is very much under threat. He needs a race of attrition to keep that run going. We've got the League 1 race to come later, so do not go anywhere. And then we look at Bamber, who's only just pitted, has passed the Mazda of Nick Cassidy, who seems to have some form of issue there, because it looked way too easy on Bamber's part to have gone on by. We hope to get more on that in a moment. And Giovinazzi has retired from the race shortly after he pitted, and this time he's crashed at the same spot as where he broke his front wing and rear wing last time. And on that number 9, it's for good this time. Giovinazzi crushing out of the Lead 2 Hockenheim Grand Prix. That is the third driver to retire from this race, and Cassidy's also gone and make that 4. That's one of Mazda's. That's one of the Mazda's gone from this one. Team sit 9th in the team's championship with no hope of promotion at the moment. They did pick up their best result of the season in Donington with 4th, courtesy of Cassidy. And Chadwick is the next to slow down in the Iron Dames, and her season continues to go from bad to worse. And I wonder what will that mean for her future within the team, with Lily Wadu waiting in the wings. And that is for team manager Jake Sanson to decide on that. She pulls off at the Clark curve, and it's game over for the Brit. She retires on that number 10 out of 34. Gearbox failure is the issue. Herter comes in from 3rd position for Spiker in an attempt of an undercut on the 2 Toyotas. It's crucially important for her to get out in some clean air, but I don't think he's going to have that luxury. he comes in for M Sport. So he joins ahead of his teammate. And down the back straight. Look at McLaughlin running wide on the exit of turn 1. There's Hockenheimring just coming out of the pit lane in front of the Sack Speed. The list of retirements so far: Jamie Chadwick, Nick Cassidy, Antonio Giovinazzi, Sean Lacey and Joseph Newgarden. Those are out of the race so far. Patrick Ward running in 21st and last place. I would say he's going to need so many to drop out ahead of him if he's to come away with any points today. And there goes Herter on Gabriele Mini for position. So competing in Formula 2 this year. Swapping places, and we've got a change of lead because De Vries has come in for his first of what is expected to be 2 stops. So Hirakawa takes over at the head of the pack. There's no question that De Vries would go in front of Herter. Herter will have not been able to have got the gap down quickly enough. So De Vries will rejoin ahead of Tom Cairns. He's just behind Iwasa at the moment, but he should be able to sail on by Iwasa very quickly, which he does so. De Vries rejoins in 6th position. Dorian Pan and Gabriele Mini are the latest to head for pit road, which releases the likes of Herter and Grosjean. This is on McLaughlin into turn 1, no way through at the moment. Now 12 out of 34. There goes the M Sport on the Mazda. It's fallen running through on McLaughlin for 17th. Hirakawa, is he heading for the pit lane at the end of the set? The answer is yes. A lap to spare on his fuel gauge. Fallen Brody. Knocked up at the OS curve. Continued. There's Colin Sinnott coming in with his first Grand Prix Series pit stop. He's yet to stop in this race. Kvyat is the new race leader for now. Now we look at Herter. Hirakawa rejoin behind Iyuma Iwasa. There goes Herter through on this circuit that is very much designed on the basis of straight line speed and engine power. Spikes just don't have the pace compared to the Toyotas right now. We look further back down the order. That's the Iron Danes going through on the Simtek. That has to be Dorian Pan on Fiat McLaughlin, and Pan is through for 14th position. That was a great pass from the French driver. So we've got Gabriele Mini also heading through on this Simtek. Can he get through on the Undos at the same time? Do you not? He very well can. That's a great pass from Gabriele Mini to go through ahead of Pan and McLaughlin. It may only for 14th position, but that was a superb double overtake from the Italian. One of the overtakes of the season so far, for sure. We look at Yearfeet running in 2nd place. Kvyat, you saw in your picture, head for pit road. It won't be too long before De Vries takes over ahead of Yearfeet. Rosenquist is next to come in as well for 40, likewise for Iwaza. So we should see Herta and Grosjean go through. De Vries has just passed Yuffie for the lead on circuit. Both of them are passed. Scott McLaughlin running in 20th position. Hoping to end his race on a high. So once Hirakawa's got by Yuffie at some point, will have a familiar story with Toyotas at the head of the field. Herta and Grosjean been able to displace Konosilic, but Silic will be on better tyres compared to Grosjean, which could give him a tyre advantage. Spiker will have more power compared to the Ram. And there goes McLaughlin on Fornerini, Fiat McLaughlin that is. Look at Kvyat, who's just pitted, heading on by ahead of his teammate, his new teammate Lloyd Javal. Kvyat takes the place away from him. Really fast up of the race from Ryo Hirakawa, who's just 1 second off Yuffie now. Shouldn't be too long before we start seeing the Japanese go through ahead of the Chinese driver. There we look at Konosilic having a go at Roman Grosjean into turn 1. And that move wasn't going to come off very well had he tried. Javal comes in for his first stop in the Grand Prix series. And will fall out of the top 15 by the time he comes back out. There goes Hirakawa on Yuffie. And it was a battle that Yi was not going to win that time. He's got 10 seconds in hand over Herta at the moment, so that would be useful for Yuffie's race when he comes in where he's expected to be his only stop of the race. We're approaching the halfway point. This race is flying by already. De Vries is about to complete his 15th lap. And there we see Lloyd Javal, who's only just pitted, and that's the last we see of him in this race, unfortunately, on debut. That's such a shame, because he was running well, but shortly after his pit stop, he's pulled off what expects to be a gearbox failure for the Frenchman. He is gone. And Kvyat is also gone, so both of the Opals are out on home turf. Disaster for Topher Smith. That's their third double non-finish in a row. Finishing Ota's come in for his pit stop. I think this is first and only one of the race that he is due to do. If he can keep going as he is, could well be on course for a podium finish. Seven drivers out of the race: Daniel Kvyat, Lloyd Javal, Jamie Chadwick, Nick Cassidy, Antonio Giovinazzi, Sean Malacy and Joseph Newgarden, and that's Dorian Pan who's slowing in the Iron Dames there. That does not look like an Iron Dames in a rather competitive state, and I wonder if we're going to see another driver pull out of it in a moment. Silic locking up at the Sachs curve. His pursuit of Colton Herta. He's got by Grosjean now actually as Silic, so he's continuing his eventful race to go for what could be 4th position at the expense of Hertha. Who's 100% point scoring run came to an end at Donington when he retired. Came into this round 3rd in the standings on 75 points. She has to win a race this season as well. Prema haven't won the Grand Course Series since Phillip Island at the end of season 4. And Dorian Hunt does make her way back to the pits. And she'll hope that'll be the last stop that Iron Dames do for this one. There's Roshan in 6th position and dropping away from Silic, who's continuing to give Colton Hertha a run for his money. Felix Rosenquist, after his stop, is running in P7. It's been another strong race for Rosenquist. It's a shame that his teammate's out because thought he could have done with another good haul of points here. That's looking increasingly unlikely. Yifei comes in at the end of that 17 for his only stop of the race. Hope to get out right about where he was at Nigeria, and that's Silic trying to get through on Hertha at turn 1, but to no effect, and that's slowed the pair of them down, and Grosjean and Post is back in again. But Silic isn't giving up. He's alongside, just about to go and buy Hertha at the Clark curve. Great pass from Connor Silic, go through into P3. American having a storming race, but Hertha's coming back with the benefit of the slipstream. Hertha through, and the compatriot to Silic has gone on by the ramp. 2 Americans swapping places. And Yifei did rejoin behind El Bamba. Silic goes back ahead of Hertha at the end of the centre curve. Silic should be able to pull away from the spiker as we turn our attention to Nick Prix. And Ryo Hirakawa has come in with an electrical issue, and that's his chances of the victory gone. The man 2nd place in the championship has had to come in with an electrical issue. He'll get to the end of the race from there now with 16 laps to go. But that's going to drop him further down the order, unfortunately. He is out ahead of Yifei, and that's crucial actually, because Yifei has done what was expected to be his only stop of the race. Got more drivers coming in. El Bamba, Leo Fornaroli. They're all in. De Vries should have a free run to the checker flag now. I'm conscious as to how much time Hirakawa is going to make up. Blink of an eye, really. Right in the middle tracks of Iyuma, was it? It'll be an easy overtake for the Toyota to go by the promoter. We'll do it here, they'll do it at the end of the next back straight. The slipstream pulls out alongside, and that's an easy pass for Hirakawa to sail on through into 6th position on the road. You see Silic in 2nd place. He's now That's 3.5 seconds off the lead. Last driver to win on debut in the Grand Prix Series was Kelly Rockenheim in Potsdam last season. And one for Lola. De Vries took his 4th consecutive pole position, equalling his personal best. But it's the victory that he so desperately needs. He's finished no higher than 6th in any of the last 6 races. The only time he's finished on the podium was when he had won in Curitiba. And there is Silic. He's pulling away from Herta and Grosjean now. And a strong run. Starting the race from 5th on the grid. Ahead of the championship leader, Pato O'Ward, who has had a day to forget. Was it in P7? Promoter, P8, Tommy during 9th. Germany Mini inside the top 10. Are both the promoters going to get to the checker flag? It's been a rarity for them to do so. Done that 3 times this season. Did so last time at Donington with 6th and an 8th. And 6th and 7th and 10th. Is 14 laps away from picking up another victory in the Grand Prix Series, which will be the 6th of his career. He'll go in front of Rio Hirakawa and Callum Ilott. He'll be level with Sebastian Buemi, Jean-Eric Verne and Shane van Gisbergen. And there is Theo McLaughlin running in P11. Boiled, to be fair, has McLaughlin since that podium on debut picked up at Petrolo de los Fines. Since then, he's only finished in the points twice. Hirakawa is catching Roman Grosjean, has been passed by Felix Rosenqvist. And we're going to see why, because Grosjean, I think, may well be slowing down. He's not going very fast. It's the Frenchman. We'll see whether he does come into the pit lane. And Dusseldorp slows down again. It's another race to forget for the Sachs Speed team. His teammate Felix Salaquado is at the back as well. Grosjean does come in. Was expected to be his final stop of the race. We're going to see our 8th driver to retire from the race. He's out of everyone's way. De Vries continues to lead. Hirakawa is past Felix Rosenqvist for 4th place. And I don't think it's going to be too long before he gets through on Herta as well. Now, if De Vries was to pit in now, he would rejoin behind Rio Hirakawa. But De Vries will be on much better tyres, so it's an undercut that will work for Hirakawa, but only for a short while. And so Hirakawa does pass Colton Herta for 3rd place. Moscow, the Mazda and the M Sport. We've got a pit stop over at Ram. Connor Silic is in from 2nd place. Hockenheim won't need to worry about him any longer. Second place. Gabriel Mini pits in for promoter. Silic gets out in 8th position. Wazza has just passed Colton Herter on the circuit, as of Rosenquist. What about Yearfee? Is he going on by Herter as well? He is, you know. I wonder if Herter is nursing an issue. In a similar way to how Grosjean had, which forced Grosjean into the pit lane. Yeah, he's not going very fast, is Herter. I think he could well be in trouble. Rosenquist is through into P3, but he is expected to pit in again before this race is over. De Vries is in from the lead, so we'll see whether Hirakawa actually goes through ahead of him on circuit before De Vries comes back out. There we see the Japanese driver Rio Hirakawa coming through the final corner. I think De Vries may well have done enough, you know. Oh, he's well clear. He's well clear of his teammate. Rosenquist and it was on both him, as is Tomoki Nichiri. Herter remains out there. He actually didn't choose to come in, and maybe it was just a mistake he made earlier on the lap. He isn't exactly going to plan for Spiker right now. Have a look at Hirakawa, who's now in second place. His teammate De Vries on course for victory. O'Ward comes in for his final stop. There's no chance of points for him in this one. If the race was to finish as it is now, Hirakawa will go back into the championship lead. De Vries by taking victory and pole position. We'll see him move up to third place in the standings. There is an inter-team battle at Simtek. Kukinishin Ota on the inside of his teammate Theo McLaughlin for position, and that is P7 going in the way of the Japanese. Continuing to enjoy life in that part is Ota. Waza and Bamba are continuing to swap positions as well. Silic continues to close in on the gap is just under 2 seconds now. 10 laps remaining. Yearfee on the one stop in P3. He's got Herter and Silic not too far behind. And that's Theo McLaughlin being passed by Al Bamba, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Wazza took advantage. McLaughlin did have to get off the throttle through turn 1. We're about to see the change happen. It looks like Rosenquist somehow has leapfrogged his way past Nichiri, Iwaza, and now it was Mini, Nichiri and Iwaza who got by. So Rosenquist wasting no time whatsoever since he made his final trip to the pit lane. On the inside there of McLaughlin. McLaughlin is really continuing to struggle. I think it was just got back through on Rosenquist for position. So we've got a unique battle happening at the lower end of the points. Silic has passed Herter for position. Silic is through into 4th place ahead of the Spiker. And the American is 1 position away from a podium finish on debut, which is going to please loss of Ram Ross McGregor for sure. Here's the Premier. Yuffie, who's on course to end this one 4th in the Drivers' Championship, despite finishing on the podium. De Vries has just been too strong today compared to the others. We're looking at Iwaza with Bamber. Rosenquist right behind as well. Looks like Mini's got through on McLaughlin for position in P12. Not too long left in this race. I mentioned about the Drivers' Championship as far as the Teams' Championship is concerned. Toyota are on course for a clean sweep. 1 and 2, pole position and fastest lap, which will give them 45 championship points, moving them on to 196. Spiker have got 5th and 6th at the moment. 18 points it would be for them. They'll be on 160. They'll be 34 points off the top as it stands. Konasilic's 4th place currently. We'll give Ram 12 championship points and move further clear of 40. As for Premier, we've got Yuffie in 3rd place and Nigeria just outside the points. It will not be enough, I don't think. Yeah, it will be enough because Rosenquist is down in 9th. Premier will move on to 111 points, 40 will be on 106. The race was to finish right now. So Chris in 9th, attacking Bamber at turn 1. Now it's turning into a 5-car battle for 8th position, involving Bamber, Rosenquist, Nigiri, Iwaza and Mini. Rosenquist gets through, but for how long? Bamber comes back on the inside, and through goes Mini into 9th place. That was a superb pass from Mini, who's continuing to have the race of his life so far with his audacious overtaking. Late on the brakes. Great risks come with great rewards. And Yuffie has dropped down the order behind Silic and Herter, and he's behind Grosjean as well. We need to go to Yuffie because he is running into issues. And I think he's going to pull off the circuit in a moment. That is bad news for team manager Alex Johnston of Premier. And there is Yuffie out of the race with engine failure on lap 27. Back-to-back non-finishes for him. It doesn't do his championship hopes any good whatsoever either. That promotes Conor Silic up into a podium position, with Hertz and Grosjean now 4th and 5th. Christian Oeter, who I believe is on the one stop, is on course for 6th place, which would be a great reward for him. He's got those on the 2-stop chasing him down. So that's swabble for position involving those particular drivers. We could potentially, with Theo McLaughlin included, we're talking a 7-car battle. So we've got Yuffie, Steph Dusseldorp, Danny Kvyat, Lloyd Javal, Jamie Chadwick, Nick Cassidy, Antonio Giovinazzi, Sharma Lacey and Joseph Newgarden all out of the race so far. Felix Sanbrado putting in 17th and last position behind Scott McLaughlin. There goes Bamber on Rosenquist on the inside, and Bamber is through into 8th position ahead of the Swede. Rosenquist is coming back in the slipstream. It's so effective around here. And it looks like it was as going on by Nigeria as well. It gets worse for Premier. He could well come away from this race with no points. That non-finish for Yuffie is great news for 40. gap between De Vries and Hirakawa. Toyota are on track for a 1-2 finish, and there's bad news for Ram because Conor Silic has had to come in with some form of issue, and his hopes of a podium are dashed. Unless he broke his front wing, so I think he broke his front wing on the circuit by running over the curb. So that has cost Silic absolutely dear. And Grosjean is now attacking Herta for third place. He's got by the American. It's a Toyota 1 and 2. It's a Spiker 3 and 4. Silic rejoins in 10th position with 6 laps to go. He's got this gaggle of cars of which he'll have to get on by, which won't be easy. He's being passed by Hockenheimring, was it? It's a long queue of cars, 7 of them in fact, fighting for 5th position. Oates comes back on the inside of Mini. Rosenqvist gets pushed out by Bamber. Mini coming back on the Simtek on the inside at the centre curve, and he's through. What about Rosenqvist? He's on the inside, as is Silic, wasted no time. Was that 3 in 1 go for Silic? I think it may well have been 3 cars in 1 go. So he's got Iwasa, Nigiri and Rosenqvist in front. Bamber and Mini are going to be involved in this. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3. A triple pass from the Ram of Conor Silic on debut. It's been that sort of day for him. And he's going to go through this time on Rosenqvist at the end of the final back straight of the lap. And there we see Grosjean continuing to pull clear of Herta. He's on course for a podium. Which will his third podium in 4 races. Herta came into this round with just 1 finish in the last 5. And there goes Serge on Ota for 6th position. And once he goes by Mini on this lap, that'll be as high as Silic will go. At the lower end of the points, there is McLaughlin. Bamber's gone by Nigiri. He's gone by Iwasa for position. Theo McLaughlin's right behind, as is Leo Fornarelli. He's got involved in this now. There we see Ota and Nigiri dicing it out with Rosenqvist for position. There's Philip Siliquata being lapped by the race leader with 4 laps remaining. It's going to be another race without points, unfortunately, for Sack Speed. I have hopes for a lot more. Should see Silic go by Gabriel and Mini in a moment. There he is, look. On the inside, and that's Silic through into 5th position ahead of the Italian. Maybe getting the gap down, but he's going to run out of time before he can do anything about Colin Herta and road preparation. He's 22 seconds back from the pair who were dicing for position not too long ago, but I think they're just second on where they're going to end up finishing in this one. There's De Vries in the lead. Lap 32, just 3 to go. The next driver for De Vries to lap will be Scott McLaughlin in the Mazda, who's running in 16th position. Hirakawa is about to go back into the championship lead with second place here at Hockenheim, which will be quite a recovery after 2 non-finishes in a row in Marrakesh and in Donington. The gap between Herta and Silic is coming down to less than 19 seconds. Unless anything kicks into these cars. This is the older gunner vision. There's Rosenquist, whose 7th position is far from secure at the moment. He's got the jury behind, he's got Ota as well. It was a Bamber and McLaughlin in their own squabble with Fornarelli and O'Ward, who's managed to get himself involved in that now. Just 2 laps to go for the race leader. Hirakawa is over 22 seconds off. And there we see Iwaza behind Ota. The promoter's going to go through for position. And that move is coming all along, I think. Both the promoters on course for a double points finish again, which is good news for team manager Lucy Bassendale. The team kick-started their time in the Grand Prix Series in the best way possible with a win at the opening round in Road America. Between Herta and Silic is just over 15 seconds. There's Fornarelli about to be passed by Pato O'Ward. This is trying to get into the points, but his late surge is going to be too little too late. Final lap of the race for Nick De Vries. He's nearly a lap ahead of these. Race again, no reliability issues hitting any of the cars from the top 4 teams, although Hirakawa did have to come in for an electrical issue. It will only be the second time this season that all 4 cars from the top 4 teams, or the top 2 teams, will make it to the checkered flag. There's a late battle going on for position involving Felix Rosenquist and Tomi Kinijiri, and Rosenquist is through on the Japanese for P7. Good pass all round. De Vries on his way to his 6th career win, his 2nd of the season for Toyota. Keeping him on track for the team's championship at Hockenheim, where we expected the Toyotas to excel. A question of reliability? Well, there is your answer for today. Toyota have got it right, and De Vries is on course for a very convincing win, and a very well-deserved one here in Germany. Nick De Vries wins the Lead 2 Hockenheim Grand Prix. It's a 4th win of the season for the team. And they'll cherish this one. And to make things even better for team manager Michael Espy, Ryo Hirakawa, despite his electrical issues, is going to come home to make it a 1-2 finish for the team. And then a long way back are the two Spikers, who are both going to get to the end of the race, with Grosjean in third, and Hertha, who's not had a good second half of the race really, is going to be 3 seconds behind in fourth position. There we see Grosjean third, Hertha fourth, good points in the bag for Spiker, but they've lost ground to Toyota in the race for the team's championship. And then we turn our attentions to Connor Sillage. On debut, it's a shame he had that front wing damage which forced him into the pits, but 5th place will do for him on debut, which will please team manager Ross McGregor. Gabriel Mini, Fulper Motor, heads over the line in 6th position. That's back-to-back 6th places for him. Rosenquist is in 7th place, ahead of Najuri, Iwaza and Kukunishin Ota, picking up the last point for Simtek in 10th position. Elbama misses out, no points again for Chip Ganassi. Finn McLaughlin, Pato Award, no longer the championship leader. And we've got Leo Fornarelli. Scott McLaughlin, who only just got by Dorian Pan, will be 15th, with Pan 16th, and 17th will be Philip Saliquada. There's your race winner. It is Nick de Vries here at Hockenheim in League 2. He leads up to 3rd in the championship standings, or 2nd rather, in the championship standings of this one, but I think it is 3rd. Nick de Vries wins ahead of Rio Hirakawa. Then it's Roman Grosjean in 3rd place, running out the podium. Colton Hertha in 4th. Then it's Colin Sillage finishing 5th on debut. That's great stuff for him. Then it's Felix Rosenquist, Tomek Nijiri in 7th place, followed by Ayuma Waza, Kukunishin Ota, and Elbama leaping up into 10th position for Chip Ganassi. Fig McLaughlin in P11, Pato Ward in 12th place, Leonardo Fornaroli in 13th, ahead of Scott McLaughlin and Dorian Pan. Gabriel Mini's time penalty for that collision he had earlier on in the race had dropped into 16th. That's a big blow for him, ahead of Philip Saliquada, who was a lap down in 17th place. Yifi retired from the race, as is Steph Dusseldorp and Danica Fiat. Lloyd Javel, Jamie Chadwick, Nick Cassidy, Antonio Giovinazzi, Sean Malasey and Joseph Newgarden were the drivers to not finish that race. The pole position point going to Nick de Vries, the fast lap heading in the way of Rio Hirakawa. Maximum points for Toyota. That 2nd place finish for Hirakawa sees him go back into the championship lead at the expense of Pato Ward, who had a race to forget today. Nick de Vries, after a barren run of form, is back on the top step this time. He has a championship hope again after that. That victory leads him up into 3rd place in the standings behind Pato Ward, who comes away pointless. Toyota are looking ever so strong again in the team's championship. Maximum points moves them on to 196 points. Spiker picking up 27th. They are now on 169. So it's a 27-point gap heading into the next round of the championship at Anderstorp. It's time to run down on the League 2 drivers and teams championships in the voice of Topher Smith. And we'll be back for the League 1 race very, very shortly.
A dominant display there by Nick de Vries for his 2nd win of the season, and to make things even better for Mike Gillespie, it's a Toyota 1-2. A great result for him, a massive well done. But what has this done to the drivers and team standings? Let's have a look. Rio Hirakawa has moved back into the lead of the standings on 103 points with his 2nd place finish today. He moves ahead of Pato Ward, who is 2nd on 96, 3 ahead of Nick de Vries, who moves up to 3rd after his victory today. Then the 2 Spikers of Roman Grosjean and Colton Hertha, they have 87 and 82 points each. Felix Rosenquist 6th in the standings, also on 82, ahead of Yeyefe on 75, Gabriele Mini on 51, Luke Browning on 36 and Igor Fraga on 35. As for the teams, Toyota has stretched its legs a bit at the top of the standings, 196 points now for the team, ahead of Spiker on 169, Ram Racing on 141, 40 Corsa on 112 and Prima into triple digits as well on 102 points. Bimoto KRT on 73 ahead of Simtek on 69, Opel on 49, Mazda on 35, Iron Dames on 29 and then Chip Ganassi on 23, M Sport and Zach Speed on 16 each. Let's now move on to League 1 and remind ourselves of how the drivers and team standings look. Starting off with the drivers, and Yuki Tsunoda is at the top on 90 points, 9 ahead of his fellow countryman Kamui Kobayashi on 81. Carl Kirkwood 3rd on 78 ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen on 61. Johansson Guven 5th on 60 ahead of Scott Dixon on 52. Jamie Whincup and Raffaele Marcello, one-time race winners this season, they are on 48 points each. Nick Tandy 9th on 46 and Alex Pelot 10th on 42. Looking at the teams, Formatal leads the way on 154, 34 ahead of HRT, 2nd on 120. Ducati third on 107, only one ahead of Minardi on 106. Arrows fifth on 90 ahead of Lancia on 78. Force India on 71. Cupra Kiro on 69. Prost on 49. Onyx on 48. And then in the relegation zone, BAR, Jaguar and Carlin with 14, 12 and 9 points each. And just like in League 2, there was also a mid-season driver test for the League 1 teams as well, where the team's reserve drivers and a test driver were able to get out on track. Let's have a check to see how they got on in the test, handing it back over to Tom Cairns to take you through all the results.
It was no surprise to see Pascal Wehrlein at the top for Ducati ahead of Julian Andlauer's Arrows. Brock Feeney was the highest of the rookies in third, in front of Lauren Heinrich, and League 2 Drivers' Champion in Season 3, Marcus Ericsson. James Collado scraped into the top 10 in his Minardi. Ella Lloyd did Formitel proud on her way to P11, Pippin Lawrence Vanthoor and Arthur Leclerc. The Prost pair, Jose Maria Lopez and Tom Ingram, were separated by just 1,000th of a second in 16th and 17th. Towards the back of the order, Rafa Kamara was quicker by half a second over his BAR partner Maya Berg. Kalle Rovanpera's final hurrah for Jaguar sees him in P22, with F1 Academy driver Ella Stevens just 1.4 seconds off the pace to the fastest time.
Thank you, Tom. And following on from that test, there were some driver changes, 3 of them to be exact, so let's have a look through those now. Starting off with BAR, where reigning Formula 3 champion Rafael Kamara has been given a go in the race seat in place of Teo Pourchaire. We will be keeping an eye to see how he gets on in today's race. And then over at Cupra Kiro, Kalle Rovanpera, who started the season with Jaguar before being dropped, has now been picked up again, and he will go in place of Oliver Rowland at Ed Hunter's team. It'll be interesting to see how the race winner gets on his return to the grid. And then over at Jaguar, Maximilian Gunter has been dropped down to the reserve role, and in this place will be Rotoma Beato, who put in a great time in the mid-season driver test and earned himself a return to a race seat on the Grand Prix World Series grid. Those are the driver changes for today, so let's see how they got on in qualifying and take you through the full grid. And on the front row, it is a Fonmetal 1-2. Yuki Tsunoda takes his first ever Grand Prix World Series pole position ahead of his teammate Felipe Nasr, very close between those two in qualifying, less than half a tenth of a second. Shane Van Gisbergen third alongside Alex Palou, and then Carl Kirkwood in fifth alongside Scott Dixon. Kamui Kobayashi 7th ahead of Heinchen Guven, Brendan Hartley and Philip Hansen rounding out the top 10. Nick Tandy 11th alongside Will Power, then Raffaele Marcello and Kevin Estra 13th and 14th ahead of Robin Freins. Alessio Rivera in the second Lancia 16th on the grid, quite disappointed to be so far behind his teammates in qualifying today. And Tony Fix da Costa and John-Eric Verne, the two Prost, share row 9 together, ahead of the two Cupra Kiros of Jamie Whincup and Kalle Rovanpera. And then at the back, Rotoma Beata, Mitch Evans, Sebastian Buemi, Kevin Magnussen, Stoffel Van Dorn, and Rafael Kamara for his debut today will prop up the field from 26th and last. Well, we had some fantastic racing in the League 2 race, a lot of overtakes we saw, and we are hoping for more of the same in League 1. So let's get straight to it and hand you back over to Tom Cairns, who is ready to call the action. So Tom, back to you.
Here we are in Germany, and it is Fonmetal's front row, but will it be their victory coming away today? Will Shane Van Gisbergen do anything about it, or even Alex Palou? Lights are on. Lights off, it's go with a field getaway. What about the two Fonmetals? Well, I have to say, Nasr got off to a very poor start. Shane Van Gisbergen leapfrogging ahead of him before they even get to turn number 1. So Van Gisbergen up into second place behind Yuki Tsunoda as they go along the first of the long straights before getting to the Clark curve. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming around this part, so I'll just let it settle down as the lap continues on. But there is Alex Palou getting through on Tsunoda, as is Kyle Kirkwood. So Nasr is continuing to go backwards. He ran out wide as well on the exit the Clark curve, and that is going to drop him back into the clutches of the likes of Kamui Kobayashi, Scott Dixon and co. Down towards the Os curve, and that's a move from Nick Tandy on the inside of Scott Dixon for P7. And also Heinchen Guven may well head on through in the Lancia, and he is. So Dixon's beginning to struggle right now. The whole field snapping at his heels as we speak. Tsunoda leads the race then. Van Gisbergen second. It's Palou, Kirkwood, Nasr, who's passed now by Kumuro Kobayashi at the centre curve. It's Nick Tadney in 7th place, and it's Owen Guvin, Will Power and Scott Dixon. There is Phil Hansen, who had to serve a 5-place grid penalty for his part in the incident on lap number 1. Donington is looking to make up for it in this one. He started the race 15th for his penalty, and is already up. He's back into the same position as where he was on the grid. Here they come over the line then. It's Sonoda ahead of Van Gisbergen. It's Palou, Kirkwood and Kobayashi. This race will fly on by. It's Dixon running wide on the exit turn 1. He's able to get back on the track. He's now got pretty much the whole field waiting behind as Stoff Van Don comes in for Carlin. The team in desperate need of points right now, sitting bottom of the Teams Championship with relegation looming large at the moment. A few lockups happening over at the Clark curve, but no major incidents so far. You see Kevin Estra having it out with Rafael Marcello, but it's Marcello who wins that battle. And we've got our first retirement of the race, and that's Robin Fines, who's out. Front wing damage he's picked up. Now, did someone run into him? Yes, it was the BAR. I wonder if that was Sebastian Buemi that might have run into him. We'll find out more on that in a moment, but it is Fines out of the race, unfortunately. It was Buemi that ran into him. Yeah, I'd say that was avoidable from Buemi, unfortunately. So if there's anyone that's going to pick up any form of punishment for that, it's going to be him. And that's the first retirement of the race on lap number 2. And it's the Dutchman, who's not having the best of form at the moment, it has to be said. So Buemi is going to be hit with a punishment, I would think. It is a 30-second time penalty, a 10-place grid drop, and 6 penalty points on his licence. And those are his first penalty points for this season. Right on board with Mitch Evans. In 18th position behind Antonio Felix da Costa. In regards to the setups, every single team in League One is running the maximum top speed setup. Look at Estra. Going back at Philly Marcello. Stoff Van Dorn is on his own at the back in 25th place. There goes Guvin on the Minardi of Will Power. Through pole position. There we see SVG in P3. Aiming down his run on 3 consecutive non-scores. There's Kyle Kirkwood, who's going for a hat-trick of wins. Something that's only been done once before in the Grand Prix Series, and that was Antonio Felix da Costa 3 seasons ago. Obviously, Marcello coming back at Estra. And now it's Brendan Hartley who's looking to get involved in the scrap. Settle into a rhythm with Kobayashi. Side by side with Nazar on the back straight towards the Clark curve. There goes the Minardi on the Fomental. I wonder if Nazar may be on a heavier fuel load compared to most of the others here. His pace pace is not exactly strong at this moment in time. We see the Japanese in the lead. The race winner in Sebring. 10 points for Kamui Kobayashi in second coming into this round. Taking his first ever pole position in the Grand Prix Series. We see a couple of passes further down the field. That's Jamie Winkup being passed by Scott Dixon, I believe. Oh, there's drama at the back. It's Rafa Kamara in his first Grand Prix Series race spinning in the BAR. He was trying to get through on Jean-Luc Verne for position, and it didn't come off. I don't think Verne did anything wrong here. Point out, right, he set him on the brakes a little bit, and just locked up, caught the grass, and around he went. That's Kamara spinning around and dropping to 24th position. BAR's 6-year tenure in League One is very much under threat. Relegation also on the horizon for them. Dixon, Winkup, the Australian and the New Zealander having it out for 14th. And there we see Dixon go through, the two-time Grand Prix Series champion, who is on 2 on the scores at the moment, but he still has a reasonable chance of the championship. Race win is what he'll want to be getting at some point soon. There goes Winkup on Dixon, and further back, that has to be the Jaguar of, I believe, it's not Kelly Robin Perro, it has to be Mitch Evans, I believe, that's gone through. There's the Onyx coming back, that's Hansen on Antonio Felix Costa. Blow, putting in second place now ahead of Shane van Gisbergen. Nice blow. It was only once in the Grand Prix Series that came with Ram in Buenos Aires a couple of seasons ago in League 2. He's yet to take victory so far for HRT after some golden opportunities missed by the Spaniard. Second off the lead. He's catching Tsunoda, he's not allowing him to pull away. And that's engine blow up for Jamie Winkup in the Cooper Kiro. It's really continuing to dwindle at the moment. Here's Winkup. 5 points in the last 3 races. He's not going to come away with any points this time around, unfortunately. For his future, Cooper Kiro still expected to stick around. He's got a new teammate for this round, that's Kelly Robin Perro, who's back for the first time since he was dropped by Jaguar. How the race goes. Jamie Winkup. He's the second driver to drop out of this race. Or third driver, rather. No, it is 2. It is 2. We lost Robin Friends earlier, now it's Jamie Winkup. He's the latest to go. That's his 5th retirement of the season from 10 races for the Australian. We'll be hoping for a change of form in the near future. Strong Aaron Verne. 7th place last time at Donington, which was great to see. Of course, we were able to leapfrog ahead of Onyx in the team's championship into 9th. Tonight he was get through ahead of Robin Power this time around though. This is Robin Power's 3rd different team in the space of around about a season really. He kickstarted his time in the Grand Prix Series in the second half of season 5 with Lolo, where he won on debut in Poznan. And then was given the chance of racing for Jaguar this season. Didn't work out unfortunately, so huge drops after the opening P rounds. After the mid-season test he did for Jaguar at Donington, he was given the chance by Cooper Kiro to stand in for Oliver Rowland. And here we see our first scheduled stop of the race. It's come at Ducati with Shane van Gisbergen. He's in. As is Will Power. Don't see any more heading for pit road. Nasa through on Kobayashi. Toma Miata, who's competing in his first race in a while. Last we saw from him was in season 5, I believe. I think it is in season 5 that we saw Miata last, when he was competing for Mazda, David Young's team. This is his first race in League 1, the Japanese. Given the opportunity. Jaguar in place of Max Gunter. The Jaguar's time in League 1 looks set to be cutting short at the end of the season. Just like BAR and Carlin, they are destined for the job. Obviously Pelot chasing the leader still at the moment. Hyunjin Guvin comes in. And that is Kobayashi having a go on Nasa again. Down the 6th stream, back in, out again. On the inside heading into the Clark curve. That is the Minardi through on the Fomitel for position, 4th place for the Japanese. 5 to 6 seconds back in 6th place, and it's Rivera, Hartley, Marcello and Estra. Just 2 retirements so far, Jamie Winkup and Robin Friends. Stoff van Dorn running in 24th and last position. Kevin Magnussen is down the order into 20th right behind Robin Power. And Will Power, who's just come out of the pit lane. We see Hyunjin Guvin also through on Magnussen. This Carlin just does not have the pace. Simple as that. Here is Verne through on Robin Power for 17th, so he does get by the Cooper Kiro at last. Now at Fomitel with Sonoda pitting in from the lead. And the next player will take over leadership. Just 8 rounds Cairns to go after this when we go to Anderstorp next. We were last raced at in season 4, as far as I can remember. Sebastian Buemi almost completed one of his comeback drives at Anderstorp a couple of seasons back when he was at Prost. He's made his way into the pit lane for BAR. He has that penalty hanging over him, remember, 30 seconds it is. You see Kirkwood in second position. Going for it on Rovanperä. Is he going to go through on the Minardi as well? Just about, does he? He's got him. He's got the Minardi at last, did Ayunchin Guven. But Will Power is having none of it and he's coming back through. On the inside again. Will Power leaves the door open completely and he's gone off the racetrack with a front suspension failure. What must Will Power do to catch a break? His teammate Komori Kobayashi comes in for his first pit stop. Power won't have the chance to do his. Well, he did have the chance to do his, but as only a short while ago, he is gone. HRT 1 and 2 1 on circuit. Sorry, it's a HRT 1 and 2 on circuit, is what I was meant to say. Nasser in third place. It's Tandy, Rivera, Marcello, Frank Gisberg and Estra, with Sonoda, who's already pitted, sailing on by the Onyx. And Scott Dixon has taken advantage of Estra, may even get through on some Snow at the same time. And do you know what? He does so. Maybe on those tyres, but Dixon refutes that. Decides he's going to go by Sonoda on the circuit. There is Will Power. Parts up on the far side of the centre curve. Kobayashi with Antonio Felix da Costa, who seems to have had the upper hand on Jean-Luc Vergne for once here in Germany. And we've got Alex Blow in the pit lane now from the lead, so Kirkwood is gunning for a hat-trick of wins today. He's through into the lead temporarily. Nazar and Tandy hits in on the same lap. You see Kobayashi, who's already pitted, is heading on by the Onyx. Kevin Estra can't quite do it there, and that's opened the door for Da Costa to get back in the action. There we see Kobayashi going on by Rafa Kamara in the pit lane for Onyx. Kobayashi goes through. Does he run wide? No, he doesn't. He needs to get the slow car down in time. It seems that Da Costa has also got by Estra at the end of the second back straight. One of his better races so far. Antonio Felix da Costa in what's been a season to forget for him. Just 2 point scores all season. The best finish of 5th in Sebring. Yeah, it looks like Da Costa just got swamped out there by the Onyx, the vomiter. Oh, and that's why Kobayashi's front and rear wing are missing. So that's why Da Costa lost the positions. And Minardi's race continues to get worse. Kyle Kirkwood pits in from the lead, so we should expect Yuki Tsunoda to take back the net race lead. Having said that, Van Gisbergen and Palou completed undercuts on him earlier, so it will be Van Gisbergen taking over the lead, with Rivera pitting in as well. So the order is Van Gisbergen, Palou, Tsunoda. Marcello is up in 4th place but yet to stop. Then it's Kirkwood, Dixon, with Nazar in P7, followed by Estra, De Costa. Well, it was De Costa, and Scoopers on by De Costa, who is now in 10th place. Back-to-back 5th places to build on. Continues being passed that easily by Alessio Rivera, but Rivera is on better tyres compared to the Kiwi. Seconds is the margin between Van Gisbergen, and that's an engine blow up for Kyle Kirkwood, who's only just pitted. It is not going to be a hat-trick of victories for the American. The car is up in flames. It is game over. He's continuing to chase after Scott Dixon, with Palou setting the fast up of the race as we speak. I doubt that Kirk was going to be able to get that back to the pit lane, or at least he tries to, but really past the pit entry. It's game over for Kirkwood at the end of lap 13. There's no way he'll be taking the championship lead because of that. We've now got a pit stop over Cooper Kiro because Kelly Rovanpera has made his way in. Palou on his own now for HRT, carrying all their hopes. It's Van Dorn being passed by Jean-Eric Verne. Mendelson coming in. His pit stop. 4 drivers out of the race: Kyle Kirkwood, Will Power, Jamie Wincup, and Robin Frines. Palou continuing to close in on Van Gisbergen here. He's going to get down to half a second. Whilst we look at Brendan Hartley. He's heading on by Antonio Felix da Costa. That's a change for position. Rivera is now heading on through ahead of Estra for 9th place. Thanks to Lancia heading on by. Marcello has yet to stop in this race until now. And there we see a change for the lead potentially between Van Gisbergen and Palou. On the long straight, Palou is going to be later on the brakes compared to the Ducati, and he takes over the lead of the League 1 Hockenheim Grand Prix on lap 15. You just see Tsunoda waiting. 3 different cars, or 3 cars from 3 different teams fighting over the race lead. This is brilliant stuff. And Van Gisbergen is coming back through. This is a great battle intensifying that could go on between now and the end of the race. Close side by side. Van Gisbergen. Palou back into the lead again. There's Van Gisbergen thinking about moving. Snow's thinking about going through on Van Gisbergen, which doesn't come off, unfortunately. He's lucky to got away with that because he could have gone out so far out wide. below lead him. At the end of lap 15. 1.1 clear over Van Gisbergen. See Felipe Nasr, after a torrid start to the race earlier, he's coming back at the top 3. It looks like Tsunoda's got by Van Gisbergen on this lap. Tsunoda through into second place, with Estra coming in for what should be his only stop of the race at the end of lap 15. Can he go 19 laps on the tyres he's on to the end? Have a look at Buemi on Miata. Buemi has that penalty hanging over him, 30 seconds in fact. See the Japanese of Miata coming on by Buemi for position. That is the Jaguar through. Buemi is going to have to fight it out again here. Even if it is for pride. Now that penalty is subject to appeal. I highly doubt he'll get that overturned if team manager Matteo Fitolini decides to appeal it. Low's lead is now 2.5 seconds over Yuki Tsunoda. Although he came into this round 10th in the standings. Only 1 point finished in the last 7 races. If you were to exclude the pole position and fast lap points he picked up in that time, he's got to start finding some form. He's going to be challenging for the championship here. Look at Kevin Estra. That's just made his one and only stop. And out goes Tsunoda. The championship leader slowing. That's a big twist. With Kobayashi down the order in 15th. And Kirkwood already out of the race. It presents an opportunity for Van Gisbergen and co to close up. Tsunoda retires from the League One Hockenheim Grand Prix. And that allows his teammate to go up into 3rd place, Felipe Nasr. Sandy 4th, Guven now 5th ahead of his teammate Rivera, who breaks his front wing by going over the curb, and that'll be him off into the pit lane. And Van Gisbergen is also in with problems. That is an earlier pit stop than expected for Shane Van Gisbergen. Front wing broken there. And Rivera's race is ruined because of that. So what we say about Tsunoda and Rivera, Van Gisbergen's had to come in with a problem. Don't know what that is for certain. My guess is it's an electrical issue or a brake problem for SVG. He's in the pit lane, as is Rivera, as is Hartley. And Dixon as well. So both of the Arrows drivers are in the pit lane, which is going to be problematic, because Dixon's now going to have to double stack behind Hartley. And if there's any pit stop activity in nearby garages, that could cause problems for them as well. Oh, and that's Kobayashi off the circuit. He's out of the race. And he's taking out the Jaguar with him. I think the Jaguar continued, but Kobayashi goes no further. He's gone. He was trying to pass Ritoma Miata, which completely backfired at turn 1, and he collected the other Jaguar of Mitch Evans. Amazingly, no damage done to the car of Evans, but Kobayashi's car is most certainly ragged. Both of the Minardis are out of the race now. It's a nightmare race for Giacomo Pagliaro. Hockenheim clearly not his favourite place. Now Van Gisbergen's pit stop, other than expected, has got him back out in 5th place. Now all is not lost as far as the win is concerned, but when Pelot comes in for his final stop, he's going to be on grippier tyres compared to the Ducati, which will only give him an advantage. Now we see Dixon passing Kamara. So the top 4 all hits in problems. As it stands, Yuki Tsunoda will still be leading the championship, with Kobayashi and Kerwood also out of the race now. So Tsunoda will be the championship leader after this round. If Van Gisbergen can win this race, that's going to give him a chance in the championship battle. Might be the same for Guven of all people, because he's running in 4th place and calls for a good result. There is Marcello, who's just pitted, has gone through ahead of Miata into 8th position. Sebastian Buemi's up into P7, but his time penalty will drop him way down the order. Both of the Prosts are outside the points in 11th and 12th. Verne ahead of Da Costa. It's Rivera, Hartley and Estra, and that is Nick Tandy nearly running wide. So, although it might actually be... No, it is Tandy, my apologies. Nazar in 2nd, the only Formatel driver left in the race. Now Formatel came into this one 34 points clear over 2nd place HRT. We've also got 1 car left in this one. Ducati got both of their cars still running. Low leads on lap 20. 11 seconds clear over Felipe Nasser. It's Nick Tandy in 3rd place. We see Rito Miata. There's an engine blow up in the background. Whilst Miata's fighting it out with Evans. But whose engine is that blown up? Is that Kevin Estra's engine blow up? No, it's Brendan Hartley's. It's Brendan Hartley's engine that's expired. Lap 20 is his last. As we continue to see that squabble over 9th position. Verne has just got ahead of Evans and Miata. But Hartley won't be overtaking anybody. It will not be a hat-trick of 5th place finishes for the Kiwi. That is the Arrows pilot out of the race. And Johnny Verne is now up into 9th position for Prost. He's had a good race so far. Rivera, after his error, running over the curbs heavily. And he's back into the points at the expense of Da Costa. Miata and Evans, who were running in the points a moment ago, are now down in 12th and 13th. On Guven, 4th position. Kiwi up into 4th place at the expense of the Turk. Turn 1. There's Estra heading through on So now we see Nazar in second place. He was second last time out in Donington for him. He's yet to win in the Grand Prix Series. Will that change today? That solely depends, really, on what goes on with Alex Palou, who's gone in for his first win of the season and then the second of his Grand Prix Series career. And there goes Miata on Evans, who have been fighting it out over the last half a lap or so. There's a pit stop now at HRT, with Palou coming in for his final stop. And so Palou. And that's Miata pulling out of the race. That's such a shame for him, because he was running a good race on his return to the Grand Prix Series. But his suspension has given up. And pulls off at the same place as where Will Power had retired earlier. Sebastian Brayman pits in for the last time in the BAR. Hoping he can just finish in the points on the road, but he won't be scoring. That is absolutely sure. Low behind Tandy after his final trip to the pit lane. Perra in 13th place ahead of Dixon, who coming back alongside. Van Dorn into the pit lane for his final scheduled stop. It's unlikely that Carlo will be coming away with anything again today. How far can Nazar go before he pits in? For the final time in this race. He's staying out another lap. I don't necessarily blame him for that. He needs to try and do something to close the gap for when he comes out on his final set of tyres. Paul goes over the line, 10 seconds off the lead. Tandy comes in for his last stop. Allows from Gisbergen to move up. Ruben is also in for Lancia. Locks up whilst running in 9th position, is just ahead of his teammate Antonio Felix da Costa. Obviously Palou. Victory! Magnussen breaks his front wing by riding over the curb on the exit of the back straight. And that would be him off into the pit lane. And we'll drop to last position. See Guven through on Estra for P11. That's remaining for the race leader at the moment. That is Felipe Nasr, but he's due in for his last trip to the pit lane. Palou is in line for his first win of the season, and with the 4th of the season for HRT as well. As we move from Guven on Evans to go back into the points. Hansen comes in for his final stop. Drop out of the top 10. See Tandy Rivera side by side along the back straight. Mitch Evans is in for Jaguar. Hansen back out in 13th behind Hockenheimring. Lap, or he's staying out for another one. Well, he's only 4 seconds ahead now. Oh, is that a problem? That's a problem for Nasser from the lead, and it's going to be no points for Fomitel in this one, apart from the pole position point they got earlier. It's HRT's race to lose. Felipe Nasser joins his teammate Yuki Tsunoda on the sidelines. And it's Fomitel's first double retirement of the season. And there we see Matteo Marcello, who's got Nick Tandy right behind here, holding him up. There goes Tandy on the Force India. Next will be Alessio Rivera. May have something to do about him. So if Fitzcos is in for his final trip to the pit lane. There's the Lancia on the Force India for 4th place. Along the back straight. See from Marcello. Is he coming back on the inside? The answer to that question is yes. He's gone through. And we've got retirement now for Stoffel van Don. It's been a very low-key race for him. And he'll be happy to see the back of this. Left in this one. Pelot's lead over Van Gisbergen is 8.7 seconds, but remember, Pelot came in for his final stop after Van Gisbergen did. Van Gisbergen's pit stop came prematurely, hence why he does not have the tyre grip advantage. And there's an engine blowout further back, and it's Scott Dixon! And it's going to be near par for Arrows and for Marcus Johansson. It's Dixon's 5th non-finish of the season, his 4th in the last 5. He'll allow the 2-1X drivers of Estra and Hansen to go by, but Estra makes contact, which will displease team manager Ryan Ferris. Dixon continues on, he's already passed pit entry. It's game over for him here. And Callum Rivera got Sebastian Buemi right behind, but remember, Buemi does have that penalty, so Callum Rivera is on course for his first point as a League One driver. He didn't score any points for Jaguar earlier in the season, but he could well be getting one in his first race for Cooper Kiro. Out goes Scott Dixon. Once Buemi's penalty is applied, but just before I say that, I think there's been a change of position between Guven and Marciello. We need to see what's going on with Marciello, because I think he might have run into trouble on this lap. We're looking at Tandy, but we want to see Marciello. Yeah, he's dropping back. Marciello, he's got an issue. Estra's gone through into 6th place. Hansen will go through in a moment. I think it might be front wing damage for Marciello. Yeah, it's front wing damage. Marciello will be in the pit lane, and his hopes of points are down the drain. Nintendo up into 3rd place then, on course for a podium position. There goes Hansen on Estra. Into turn 1. And that is the breakthrough on the Frenchman. Both of the Onyx drivers on course for points. Much needed points for the team. It'll be the first time this season both of the cars have made it into the points. If they stay there, that's almost contact between Evans and Verne at turn 1. I think Verne should be able to go on through here with the tyre advantage. Marcello rejoins in 14th position after that front wing change. Oh, and Hansen wrecks his rear wing and his front wing. That's really poor from Hansen at this stage of the game to make a costly error like that. That's going to really annoy Ryan Ferris in more ways than one. Through goes Estra, through goes Buemi. Soon Rovanperä will follow suit. He's out of his place, 7 laps away from his first win for HRT. After numerous near misses. Any mechanical trouble will deprive him of it. Hansen comes in and will fall out of the points. And there we see Da Costa with Rovanperä. If Da Costa get through on Rovanperä, not only will he get by on circuit here, but he'll also have a chance of going after Kevin Estra, who's just been passed by Sebastian Buemi. This is such a shame for Buemi because that mistake when he ran into Robin Frimes that took him out, BAR really need these points as well. And there are the two Lances swapping places. Guvin goes in front of Rivera. The championship as it is, Frank Gisbergen's 2nd place finish would move him in front of Kyle Kirkwood up to 3rd. It will be a point off 2nd place Kobayashi. And like I said earlier, Tsunoda will stay in the championship lead, which will be 11 points clear because he's got that pole position point earlier. So despite not finishing the race, Tsunoda is still going to extend his lead in the championship. We just saw Da Costa go by Rovanperä for position. And that should be his to keep. Phil Hansen, after the damage he picked up earlier, is behind Marcello, who's going after Rafa Kamara, who's chasing his first point on debut. HRT really need this so much. They cannot afford any slip-ups here. This will be a hat-trick of wins for the team. Not for Kirkwood, but for HRT in general. And Hansen runs wide again, gets away with that. So nearly. A repeat of what he did earlier. He survives this time around. There we look at Nick Tandy in 3rd position. Chikasi on course for 2 podium finishes here. Team's championship, with Marcello going by Kamara for P12. HRT will pick up 26 championship points, the fast lap coming in the way of Polo as well as the win. They will move to within 9 points off leaders from Mattel Ducati, with a 2nd and 3rd place finish, which will give them 33 championship points. They'll move on to 140, so there will be 6 points off HRT and 15 off leaders from Mattel. Minardi are not going to be scoring today. Neither are Arrows. Lancia, we've got Guvin and Rivera in 4th and 5th places respectively. We'll move on to 100 points and leapfrog Arrows in the process. And there we see Da Costa with Estra in the way. This has been a strong race for Da Costa. And he goes through on Estra. Does it before the end of the straight, but his line into the corner may present an opportunity for Estra to have a go back, but Da Costa has done him, and he should be able to pull away from that. 4 laps remaining for Alex Palou. Storming drive. Benefits him from the likes of Nazarenko. Started the race from 4th on the grid, threatening Tsunoda for the lead. Out with Van Gisbergen earlier, before Van Gisbergen ran into issues. But it's been Palou's race, it has to be said. Add his name to the list of different race winners this season. Marcello running in P12. Maybe we can chase after Mitch Evans in the closing laps. He'll probably get by him, but that'll be as far as he'll go. But he'll benefit from Buemi, who has that penalty. Buemi's penalty will drop him to 14th. 13 different race winners so far in the Grand Prix Series this season. Alex Palou is set to make that 14. To go for the leader, 21 seconds clear over Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen just want to bring the car home and end a run of 3 consecutive non-finishers. And Vern is still under attack from Kalle Rovanperä, who is not giving up by any means. Vern is going after Esther at the same time as well. We were talking about the top of the team's championship. As far as the bottom is concerned, now the bottom 3 teams, Jaguar looks set to be getting a point because Evans is running in P11 with Buemi's time penalty going to be added. As we go up into the points, Jaguar on to 13, but they'll still be a long way from safety. Hansen's got by Kamara as well. He's got up into 13th position. He won't get back into the points. He'll run out of time before he can do anything about that. There's Evans on Rovanperä. That was so close to contact being made, and that's going to allow Marcello to close in a little bit now. Oh, Evans breaks his front wing, and that's his championship point gone. He's going to have to do a complete lap with that damage. And that's a rookie error, I have to say, from Evans to have done that. No, he'll be kicking himself, and that will displace Mike Smith for sure. It only just dropped. Matt Skunter from the team in favour of Ritoyo Miata, and now Evans is going to have to come in. And Guvin slows, he's out! Ionju Guvin retires from 4th position in the Lancia. Now, was that an overtake under the yellow flag? That looked like an overtake under the yellow flags from Da Costa and Buemi. I wonder if that will get investigated. They don't normally give out flags, penalties for yellow flag infringements, really. when it comes to the Grand Prix series, but Da Costa's got by Buemi for 5th place on the road. But Guven is out of the race, and that's Van Gisbergen, I believe, running wide on the exit the Clark curve, which could have been costly. 2 laps remaining then. So Guven's retirement brings Rivera back into 4th place. Da Costa now 5th. Buemi's penalty, once Evans comes in for his unscheduled stop, Buemi will drop down to P12. Which will promote Vern, Estra, Rovanperä, Marcello, and then Hansen. Hansen will get back into the points. There goes Marcello on Rovanperä. So Marcello gets through, no problem whatsoever, as Palou starts the last lap of the race. No such problems for him. We've seen Vern, I think, has gone by Kevin Estra on this lap. So Vern is through into P7. Crossed on course for a good haul of points, with Da Costa in 5th and Vern soon to be 6th, which will move Prost further away from the drop zone. There we see Gisbergen on course for a 2nd place finish. Sandy has completed a great day again for Ducati, getting both of their cars onto the podium. But Van Gisbergen slows again in the Ducati. On the last lap, he's out. Another championship contender says hip problems at Hockenheim. That's horrible luck for team manager Sam Hull. No points for Shane Van Gisbergen. We go to the leader, Alex Palou, who exits the last corner to take his first win of the season. Alex Palou wins the League 1 Hockenheim Grand Prix. It's his first win for HRT, his first win for over 2 seasons. And it's given him a chance in the championship because of it. Nick Tandy, because of his teammate dropping out on the final lap, is going to come home in 2nd place. And will move up considerably in the standings as well. He'll be ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen, in fact. He moves up to 4th place in the standings from 9th. That's how tight the championship is in this series. Tandy's 2nd. And it's going to be a first-time podium for Alessio Rivera. He wouldn't have expected it. He broke his front wing earlier after a crossed the error, but he's managed to recover to a podium position. Well done to Lancia and to Alessio Rivera at the 10th time of asking as a podium finisher. Antonio Da Costa with his best results so far this season. 4th place for him. Sebastian Buemi's 5th place will drop him down. So it'll be Vern in 5th place, Estra 6th, Marcello 7th, Hansen 8th, Rovanperä his first points of the season in 9th on his return, this time as a Cooper Kiro driver, with Rafa Kamara promoted to the points in 10th place. He bags a point on debut, which is little consolation for the BAR team. It's a win for Alex Palou at Hockenheim. With all the other championship contenders falling by the wayside, he benefited from all of them. Nick Tandy 2nd, Alessio Rivera 3rd, and Sonny Fitzcosta and Jean-Luc Verne 4th and 5th for Prost. A good haul of points for them. Kevin Estra 6th, Raffaele Marcello in 7th, Philip Hansen in 8th, Kelly Rovanperä 9th, and Rafa Kamara rounding out the point scorers in 10th position. In 11th place, just missing out on points, is Sebastian Buemi, with that time penalty being added. Shane Van Gisbergen, by dropping out in the final lap, drops to P12. Mitch Evans 13th, Kevin Magnussen 14th, and Guven dropping out in the final few laps is 15th. Then the drivers were lost. Scott Dixon, Stoffel Van Dorn, Felipe Nasser were lost from the lead, with Toyo Miata Brendan Hartley, Kamui Kobayashi, Yuki Tsunoda, Kyle Kirkwood, Will Power, Jamie Whincup and Robin Friends. The pole position point going to Yuki Tsunoda and the fast lap point heading in the way of Alex Palou, today's race winner. Wow, on a day like this where a lot of the championship contenders have really hit into problems today, Alex Palou 10th in the standings with 26 championship points coming in the way for him. He's now up to 4th place in the standings, with Tandy also up into 5th with his 2nd place finish. As far as the team's championship is concerned, Fomentel only coming away with the pole position point. HRT winning today has closed down the gap. It is now just 9 points heading into the next round of the championship. Ducati only collecting 18 points with Tandy finishing 2nd. They still have a chance, but Van Gisbergen's retirement on the final lap has dealt a big blow to them. As far as the relegation battle is concerned, Prost's good haul of points sees them pull further clear of the bottom 3. Onyx likewise, with Estra and Hansen both scoring. BAR collecting 1 point today, but they've still got a lot of work to do. It's very much certain, I think, that BAR, Jaguar and Carlin will be heading into League 2 next season. It's time to run down on the League 1 Drivers and Teams Championships in the voice of Topher Smith, and I'll speak to you in the next round at Anderstorp in a couple of weeks' time. Topher, over to you.
So Alex Palou finally gets his first win of the season. That's been a long time coming. He's had a lot of pace, but a lot of reliability issues as well. The job is finally done, and Palou has his first victory since round 2 in season 4. The drought is over for the Spaniard. But what has this done to the drivers and team standings? Let's have a look now. Yuki Tsunoda still holds on to the lead of the championship, 91 points for the Japanese, ahead of Kamui Kobayashi on 81. Kyle Kirkwood third in the HRT on 78, ahead of his teammate Alex Palou, whose victory today has moved him up to 4th on 68 points. Nick Tandy now ahead of his Ducati teammate on 64 points. Shane Van Gisbergen, the defending champion, is on 61. Johansson Guven 7th on 60, ahead of Raffaele Marcello on 54, Scott Dixon on 52, and Jamie Whincup propping up the top 10 on 48. And in the teams, Fomentel still leads on 155 points, but now only 9 ahead of HRT on 146. The gap has been closed. Ducati third on 125, ahead of Minardi on 106. Lancia 5th on 93, just ahead of Arrows on 90. Force India 7th on 77, ahead of Cooper Kiro and Prost, who are on 71 points each. Onyx Grand Prix 10th on 60, while the relegation zone is looking ever more imminent for BAR, Jaguar and Carlin. They're quite a long way off in terms of number of points to Onyx in 10th. Still plenty of rounds to go though, it's not over till it's over, but League 2 is looking ever more likely for those 3 teams for next season. Well, Hockenheim has delivered true fantastic races here today. That was a joy to watch, and we can't wait to bring you the next round from Anderstorp in Sweden. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to have your company. I'm Topher Smith. Take care.